if you're anything like me, chances are you love smelling niche fragrances. You love the creativity behind the fragrances. You love how high quality they smell, how long lasting they are. But today we're going to be talking about 16 fragrances that are going to be very cheap. They're affordable, but they do not smell like it. They smell like they are maybe 5-10 times their price tag. So if you're interested in niche fragrance alternatives, just cheapies that smell really expensive, then stick around, make yourself comfortable, and let's jump right in. What is going on, everyone? It's Eli with Common Sense. Thank you all so much for joining me today. Today we're going to be talking about 16 high quality cheapies. Some of these are from the Middle East. Some of them are actually, like the majority of these are Middle Eastern, but they're definitely cheap nonetheless. For our first fragrance, we're going to be looking at one from the house of Lattafa, and I've talked about this one many times, but it is still one of my favorites, especially for the fall because of how irresistible this stuff smells. I feel like every time that I smell this, it's just a reminder that everything's going to be okay. It's fall coming up, it's gonna be all right. This one is Lattafa's Al Noble Wazeer, and there's something so magical and mysterious about this fragrance juice. It is very sweet, it's got a nice fruity quality to it, and it's got some fall spice to it. There's a really interesting iris note in here. There's like some raspberry, orange, and some really nice delicate fruits with a touch of a nice ambery warmth that definitely is reminiscent of this velvet texture on the outside of the bottle. But to me, this stuff smells absolutely high quality. It kind of reminds me of like a loose leaf tea, so it's a little bit herbal and it's got a nice fruity spicy touch to it that just smells way more expensive than it already is. And I want to say it's cheap, like $20, so this stuff you cannot go wrong with. And that one is Lattafa's Al Noble Wazeer. Now next up is another fragrance cheapie. This one is going to be from the house of Fragrance World, and this one is Lapis Lazuli. This one is going to be a wonderful alternative to Carolina Herrera's Saffron Lazuli. It smells super high quality. It's got a beautiful saffron. I want to say it's also got a nice sweetness to it, and there were some other notes in there that, you know, it's been a while since I've checked, but really what's nice is it's like a cinnamon vanillic spice. It's almost like a leatheriness. You got some floral notes in here, but really that saffron is the main star of this show. So if you love saffron spice with a little bit of just a nice smooth blend, you know, this is going to be a perfect alternative to that fragrance for a really great price. And that one is Lapis Lazuli. This next fragrance is going to be from the house of Barrett Fragrances, and if you haven't checked out that fragrance house, I highly recommend you check out this video where I talk about, I think it was like 3 really great twists and alternatives, and honestly they are really great bang for your buck fragrances. This one is Bowline from Barrett Fragrances. This is going to be a Shaghaf 40 knots inspired fragrance, so it's very close to that one, and it's almost a very strange quality that happened with this. When I first sprayed it on my skin, it was probably like a 90% similarity to Shaghaf's 40 knots. Now, since this bottle has macerated a little bit, it's almost like it's taken a little bit more of a vanillic, powdery amber approach to that DNA. It still has that really nice ambery, kind of smoky, aquatic vibe, but I think it definitely became a little bit more soft, and I think the vanilla and the amber definitely got ramped up a little bit. So it's like it was a little bit less green, and instead it just took a little bit more of that amber quality. But I think if you buy this, it's going to be a good derivative to that, where it's not going to smell like a perfect one-on-one. It's instead going to be a little bit of a softer vibe and maybe a little bit more easy to wear. It gets you in that ballpark for about $40, especially if you use the code Common Sense, where you can save 20% off your order. Just saying. But that one is Barrett Fragrances Bowline. This next one is going to be from the house of Bath & Body Works. Now, Bath & Body Works makes some really nice mass appealing fragrances. A lot of them just smell okay. They're kind of shower gel cheapies, but this one is in a league of its own. And I remember when I first tried this on my skin and I sprayed it on the tester strip, I knew that this had to come home with me. This one is Smoked Old Fashioned. Now, it was kind of weird because for a while you could not find these in the store. It was like, was it discontinued? But I still see these on eBay and a bunch of places for $39-40, and that's how much they retailed for. So, you know, with fall coming around the corner, my guess is they're going to be restocking these. This one just smells absolutely stunning. It smells high quality. It's got a rich, just alcoholic sweetness to it. And it's not like a cheap alcohol. It smells like an old fashioned. It smells like you're at a bar and you just have a really nice fun drink with friends. And it's just got the really nice orange bitters in here and that smokiness. So if you love going to the bars with friends and you want to just be reminded of the good times that you've had maybe when you were younger or that you're having right now, then definitely give this one a shot, because it just smells so high quality. And honestly, I'm shocked that this is $40, because if it was in a different bottle, different fragrance house, I still would be fine paying, you know, 120 bucks. I'm just saying. But that one is Bath & Body Works Smoked Old Fashioned. This next fragrance is from a really underrated fragrance house. This one is from Swiss Arabian and it's called Shaghaf Tonka. Now, Shaghaf is an amazing line from Swiss Arabian. They have very high quality fragrances, but the $40 ones, you are getting so much bang for your buck, and this one does not disappoint. And there's something so mature about this one. It's like a rich amber sweetness. You got some vanilla, that tonka, but really the almond gives it a nice, almost metallic, slightly Play-Doh vibe. It just kind of smells salty and a little bit metallic, if that makes sense. Almost like a sexy Play-Doh. That was probably the weirdest analogy I could have chose. And try Shaghaf Oud Tonka. Now, if you've ever been to a rack store and you see this fragrance, definitely pick it up the next time and give it a sniff. This one is Eldorado Avenue by Camara Perfumes. This is an eau de parfum, and I want to say I picked it up for about $15 or $13. Man, this is one of my favorite alternatives to the Creed Aventus. It's just very fruity, it is very musky, and it definitely has some of that richness that comes with the original, but it leans a little bit less incensey, and it instead takes on a more aquatic, fruity woods as opposed to that real just smoky birch. But man, it smells very fruity. It is so incredibly easy to wear, and honestly, it is still one of my favorite versions and twists on that Aventus DNA. So it's almost like it's a cross between the Aventus and Aventus cologne. So yeah, this one is highly slept on, and longevity and performance is really good at that $15 mark. And that one is Eldorado Avenue by Camara Perfumes. Now this next one is so underrated, and at first I said this was a feminine fragrance, but this is not a feminine fragrance. If you like musky, sweet vanilla fragrances, then this one, it's gonna shock you. This one is Lattafa's Eclaire. And again, originally in my review, I was like, this is a little bit feminine leaning, but the more that I smelled it and the more that I put it on my skin, I just fell in love with it. And honestly, it's one of my most worn fragrances, especially for the evenings, if you're going out with friends, or if you wanna just smell really nice for yourself, just chilling at home. But this one has a beautiful musky airiness, and it also has a nice spun sugar vibe. So definitely has like a cinnamon vanilla sweetness, but the musk in here is so creamy, it's lactonic, and it smells like a really nice bowl of almost like cinnamon rice pudding with just a beautiful batch of that whipped cream on the top. So it's very creamy and it's definitely gourmand. So if you want a yummy smelling fragrance for the ladies, or if you want something that just smells very airy and vanillic, if you're a guy, you can still pull it off. I wear it all the time. This one is Lattafa's Eclaire. Now this next one, if you like that Eclaire DNA, but you want a little bit more of a frankincense vibe, you want it a little bit more spicy and resinous, this is going to be a banger of a fragrance. This one is a new fragrance from French Avenue, and it's called Fierte. So this one is going to be a twist on YSL's Baby Cat. I still have yet to smell that one, but so far, out of the many fragrance clones and twists that I have, this is one of my favorites. It's got a really rich vanillic vibe. It's almost like a tonka sweetness, but there is a frankincense vibe in here that is so just masculine. It is dark, and it's almost like it's glowing when you spray this. And I remember you need only probably 2 sprays of this stuff, and the projection is nuclear. I wore it on my skin at the DMV, and I remember it kept going up and it kept floating up to my nose, and I'm thinking, man, if I can smell it this strong, I imagine the people, you know, 2 or 3 people down the queue, they're gonna be smelling it too. And I was like, man, it just smells so good. This is a really good one, and it's about 50 to 60 bucks, but you're definitely getting that niche quality, and you get a really cool bottle with this cute little wolf on the top. But that one is Fierte by French Avenue. Next, if you're looking for a really great alternative to Parfums de Marly's Halton, then check this one out. This one is Haramain Detour Eco, and it is such a close fragrance to that. I remember I had a decant and I compared these side by side, and honestly, it's like probably 90% similar. There are some subtle differences, but it just smells very smooth and very high quality for the price. And I also wore as my fragrance of the day this one. It's a new fragrance. It's Initio's Oud for Greatness Neo. And the similarities between these two and that one, they're pretty similar. This is a great alternative. It's very woody. It's got a nice spice to it. It's not going to be a real strong animalistic oud. It's a creamy, smooth oud, and it definitely has a little bit of a spice. So it's almost like a licorice sweetness. And I know some people really hate the vibe of licorice, but to me, I kind of get that in here. It's like a sweet, vanillic vibe with a little bit of a rootiness. But yeah, this stuff smells absolutely heavenly, and it lasts an eternity. And that one is Detour Eco by Haramain. Now this next bottle, I have not been able to unsee it. Somebody had said that this looks like the holy hand grenade from Monty Python. It honestly looks very similar to that. But this one is going to be Lattafa Pride Niche Emarati Antique. So this is going to be a really, really close rendition of BDK's Gris Charnel. So this is going to be a really creamy sandalwood fragrance. There's some fig, iris, and you also have, I believe, some green tea in there, but it's going to be a really nice fig, just creamy fragrance that smells very expensive. And I love wearing this one when I have a sweater on, so it's perfect sweater weather fragrance. It's going to be super strong and it's going to project like crazy. I remember I did probably 2 or 3 sprays of this and I was almost choking when I sprayed it on the outside of my clothes. So you may want to go at arm's length, spray down here, because you're definitely going to be getting a blast of fragrance, especially in the first 3 to 4 hours when you spray it. But man, this just smells so smooth. It's got that rich, almost Le Labo style of a fragrance where it's that sandalwood, just clean green vibe, but the fig, cardamom, the iris, and everything in here blends super well, and it just smells super luxurious. So that one is Niche Emarati Antique by Lattafa Pride. Now another fragrance by Lattafa Pride. This one, it's not a new fragrance. It's been out for a while, and I think you can still get it for about $30 to $40. And if you spend that, it's going to be money well spent. There are other designers that smell far less high quality than this one, and it's shocking how well this one smells. This is Lattafa Pride Eternal Oud. So if you like the Maison Francis Kirkjohn Grand Soir, that really nice amber fragrance, this is going to be very similar to that, but I feel like it has a little bit of a fruity plum added to that vibe. So it's very ambery. It's got like a cinnamon sweetness, so it's going to be super comforting, and you're gonna just want to hug somebody when you smell this, because that's kind of how it feels on you. It feels like it's just a nice warm fuzzy blanket when you wear this, and you just can't help but want to spread that to somebody else. And this one has that really nice vanilla, that amber, and some of that nice dense sweetness. And it's not necessarily going to be a good summer fragrance, but if it's fall and winter, this is going to be a beast, and it cuts through like crazy, especially in that cold winter air. And if you wear this with a nice sweater or like a cardigan, again, this is going to be perfect for that. So another amazing sweater weather fragrance for the fall season coming up that smells super high quality. And that one is Eternal Oud by Lattafa Pride. Now, if you like that same style of fragrance where it's very warm, sweet, and kind of amber heavy, this is going to be another one that I think you might like. This one is also from Swiss Arabian, the Shaghaf line, and this one is Shaghaf Azraq. So this is going to be very similar to Montal's Honey Aoud. It's got that really nice honey, agar wood, and just a touch of spice. So it's going to be a little bit Middle Eastern. I feel like there's maybe some saffron or something else in here that gives it a little bit of a kick, but it's, again, not too much. It's definitely going to be there to balance out that nice, just floral vibe, especially with the honey kind of sweetness in the opening. But yeah, that agar wood in there definitely smells smooth, so it's not going to be a sickeningly animalistic oud. It's going to be a very pleasing, sweet, honey-like oud. And part of it kind of reminds me of a cinnamon roll. It's almost like a cinnamon glazed vibe, especially with that honey sweetness and some of that cinnamon in there. It's heavenly stuff. I think you can get it for $40, and this is definitely an 11+ hour fragrance for sure. That one is Shaghaf Oud Azraq. Now, coming from a similarly colored bottle, this one is from Ahmed al-Maghribi, and this one is Blue Oud. This right here is about as good as it gets for the price. It's, I want to say, about $40 you can get it at Fragrance Buy, but quality in this stuff is phenomenal. If you look at this bottle, it's got this beautiful frosted glass. It looks like a Tom Ford style bottle. It's got this beautiful etched, it's almost like a cypress, if you can see that in the back, but it is beautiful, and the cap has a nice heft to it, and this stuff just smells fantastic. It's gonna smell like new car leather, like a black leather. It's also got a little bit of agar wood, and and a really nice mouth-watering fruity note. So it's going to be a fruity leather kind of summer oud. So it's rare to find summer oud fragrances, but this has so much just mouth-watering florals in there. It's almost like a watermelon or like an apple almost, but yeah, it just smells so good in the opening. And I honestly have done probably like 5-6 sprays of this stuff even in the summer heat, and you will definitely project, but it smells so good. And I have had people ask me what I've been wearing when I've worn this one, and that one is Ahmed Al-Maghribi's Blue Oud. Now this next one is so incredibly close to the original DNA that I'm kind of shocked. I don't even know how the heck they did this. This is F.A. Paris's Divin Aoud, and the way that they have blended the notes in this, I'm imagining they've used a ton of notes and somehow they match that same agarwood note that is used in the actual Roja Aoud. So that really nice, slightly rhubarb fruity oud. It's not going to be too in your face, but it's like an amber oud vibe. And honestly, it just smells so dense and complex that it really does just smell kind of velvety and almost like a fuzzy warm oud. And it's not too intense. So if you're liking that real kind of animalistic, slightly fecal oud, you're not going to be getting that here. Again, this is going to be a very fuzzy, easy to wear Middle Eastern soft oud. And that one is F.A. Paris's Divin Aoud. Maybe it's Divine, I don't know. I've heard many people say it different ways. Now these next two fragrances are both going to be from the house of Nabeel, and the next one is Crown of Emirates. Now I received this bottle from my brother for Christmas, and that is a perfect time to wear this fragrance when it's a little bit colder outside and it's not going to be as cloying when you spray it. So this one to me, it just smells like very resinous, a little bit more Middle Eastern and animalistic oud. So if you're an oud lover, this is going to definitely smell the most strong and the most resinous. And honestly, that crown at the top is very beautiful. It's kind of ornate. You can see it almost has like a pearl in the top and all these little fake gems around the side. But man, Nabeel knows what they're doing with their fragrances, because they actually do own the Spirit of Dubai. It's the same fragrance house. This is just their more affordable line, and I want to say you can get it for about 40 to 50 bucks, but this does not smell like that. This smells like it's a $200-300 niche fragrance. The interesting thing about this is it has a ton of saffron, and it's almost like it has a jasmine note of some sort. That's kind of what I'm picking up. And when you first spray it, it's very earthy, it's aquatic, and it definitely has that agarwood blast, and it's like they have a very strong cedar wood accord in the opening. As this dries down, it's like it becomes so much more clean. So it's kind of weird because it still has some of the touch of the animalistic agarwood from the opening, but it has a very clean vibe from the kind of soapy just florals that they use in this. So it's a very complex fragrance that is definitely going to be an interesting one for sure. And that one is Crown of Emirates by Nabeel. And lastly, this is one of my favorite Middle Eastern fragrances of all time. This one is Nabeel's Earth. Now I've talked about this countless times on the channel, and I just cannot stop arguing for this fragrance. When I first smelled it, I did a blind buy and I was shocked because I was like, there is no way that I paid $26 for this pre-owned bottle. I think you can still get it for 40 or 50 new, and I was like, they should be asking like $200-300 for this fragrance. Mainly that's because it is going to be that same fragrance house from the Spirit of Dubai. I want to say it's Turath that this is going to be a twist on, but again, it smells very high quality, very Middle Eastern, and it's got all those expensive notes that they have. They have like unlimited access basically to all these different notes, and the quality is off the charts. It's got a very nice fruity, opulent vibe. It's got a very rich agarwood in there with a nice fruity touch at the top. It's very musky. It's got some florals, and it smells so complex and just rich smelling. It's definitely got a rich sweetness, and it's definitely not as, you know, in your face and dark and resinous as the Crown of Emirates, but this one, it's up there, my friends. If it's 40 bucks, chances are you're either going to absolutely love it or you can give it to somebody else who will definitely love it. Just get this one and take the chance. That one is Nabeel's Earth. So there we have it, 16 very high quality fragrances from the Middle East, and I guess Bath & Body Works, because they do have that one. But very high quality, niche level smelling fragrances for a really affordable price. Let me know down below if you have had any fragrances that you've discovered that really just blew your mind because of how amazing they smelled. Thank you all so much for watching. You stay safe out there. I am Eli with Common Sense. Until the next time, bye-bye. Yeah, just get this one. Get Earth. Get Earth right now.